Well, CM Punk was on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, and he said a lot of outlandish stuff, Trevor. Well, let's see what Punk's perspective on his departure from AEW was. This is a thread put together by the good folks over at Cultaholic that really breaks down a lot of what Punk had to say. Let's just go through some of the major highlights here. CM Punk opens up about the incident with Hangman Page and the workers' rights promo. One of the biggest criticisms, this is Punk's quote, one of the biggest criticisms about WWE was it was overly scripted. Wrestlers didn't need writers. Some people don't, some people do, some people prefer it. I sat down with him, he's talking about Hangman Page, and we hammered out this promo. Then he proceeds to go on live TV and not say anything we talked about. I can't hear him because the crowd's so loud. I really have to pay attention to what he's saying because my responses matter. I can't just say what I had planned because it's not going to match what he's saying to me. Afterwards, I spoke to him and I was like, why did you do that? He thinks I got one of his friends fired. He thinks I got one of his friends who hasn't been fired. I went to Tony and then the lawyer, and I said, you need to fix that because if I do, you're not going to like it. I thought I was being professional by not murdering him on television. I know some people are going to be upset about that, but with me, respect is by default. Until you do something that makes me lose my respect for you, I have never done anything to any of those guys. If they're basing how their attitude is towards me based off of some bullshit, a friend told them that I can't help you. Everything went off the rails from there. It's a shame. Punk said a lot in that. Some of it was very revealing, but one thing I think everyone universally agrees on, it went off the rails from there. Trevor, your reaction to this?
I mean, like, again, I've unfortunately said this a lot this week, but there's always my grandfather used to always say there are three sides to every story: your side, their side, and the truth. And with this, you can see how he felt in his side of the story. But again, I would have loved to be a fly on the wall to find out exactly what happened. And have we heard anything from Adam Page yet either? Like,
he's not going to speak.
I mean, it again, it's captivating. You want to hear more of it. You want to see what else he says about it. But at the same token, how much of it can you believe?
Yeah, I do think that one thing definitely is clear. Like, Hangman Page did go off the script in that promo. That is just,
we do know that. That's just true. Yeah.
And
that's been proven.
And I think what Punk is describing here is like basically that. It's just a detail that had not been reported until now when Punk said it, that, Hangman, they had a promo worked out beforehand and the Hangman didn't do that. And if Hangman did do that, it's a horrible thing for Hangman to do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. You can't change what's already planned.
Yep. Well, it would go on to say, he comments on the all-out media scrum. Getting out there and seeing, quote, reporters that report shit about you like it's fact without ever checking with you, who are openly friends with other wrestlers. He's basically talking about Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez there. It's just high school cliquey drama bullshit. I get there. I see these goofs. Again, he's talking about Meltzer and Alvarez for the most part. And I just, lose my temper. Top 3 CM Punk promo, though. We all agree with that. That is an all-time level promo.
The media scrum is one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. Let me see. Is this... Yep. So he talks about that. There's another part here where... here we go. And so he talks about that incident. Then we get Punk's comments on the Jack Perry incident.
Yep.
So this is going to be a bit long-winded, but do think it's important to hear Punk's exact words. CM Punk comments on the Jack Perry incident. He says, quote, "Tony's big idea was a separate show. We're going to separate everybody. I said that would never work. Just let me go. Who cares?" Punk, by the way, before this was saying that he basically was requesting his release after All Out. He was done. These guys don't want me here. This isn't a real business. This isn't a business predicated on making money, drawing money, selling tickets. It's not what it was sold to me as. Let me go. The second day we had the show AEW Collision, I'm sitting and catering, and Tony Schiavone comes up to me and he says, Jack is cussing me out, Jack Perry. Jack Perry is cussing me out. He cussed out Mansouri. He's cussing out the doctor right now. I was told people were being separated so that so there's not problems. So you don't want me in this. You all know, you all need to handle this, because if you don't, I'm going to handle this, and you're not going to like how I'm going to handle this. He said this a lot during this entire thing. That's like, basically, this is like the line that keeps coming back. And it's almost a threat, kind of. Like, it's like, if you don't handle this, I'm going to do it, and it's not going to be fun. I don't know anything about Jack being on vacation, but there are people that work one day a week and don't want to. They want to show up, wrestle, and film vignettes and sit home for weeks. Do what you want. It's not my company, but not on my show. So Punk saying, don't do that on my show. What Jack wanted to do was he wanted to smash a window of a rental car with a pipe. I was like, Doc's told you no, Daryl's told you no, Mike's told you no, Shivani's told you no, and apparently you've cussed them out. I'm telling you no, we don't do that here. If you want to do that, go to Wednesdays and do it. To come on this show, everyone's supposed to be separated to get rid of the drama, and you were swearing at doctors because it's real glass. It's going to get in your eye. There's a safe way to do that. I politely said to him, I said it's a different show. If you want to do that, go to Wednesdays. He clearly took something very business-minded, very personally, which is fine because I've done that before too, and it's very much who he's friends with, implying the Young Bucks. And it never got squashed. Nobody's in charge, and it turned into what it turned into. Trevor, thoughts on that? On his explanation of the Jack Perry thing?
I mean, I kind of figured it was something to that, you know. I was kind of figuring it was something around that, level. But I mean, you can't get mad at the man for trying to help the business he's a part of, you know.
Yeah, and again, remember, I do think that there is truth to this. Like what this
I
is
do.
largely what has been reported. Like that this happened.
Yeah, most of what he said in this has been reported numerous times. So I mean, you can't help but actually, believe it.
Yep. All right, and then we get to Punk basically like stating everything that happened at All In, and this is a doozy. So obviously Jack Perry does that. There's real glass. Cry me a river. Jack Perry. He does that. And he says, Jack came back from his match. I was the next match. I've got people with me. I walk up and I'm like, why did you insist on doing this dumb internet shit on TV? And he was like, well, if you got a problem, do something about it. And I'm like, come on, man. I'd kill you. What are we doing? I thought I was doing the responsible thing. I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little. Samoa Joe was there, told me to stop. Then I quit. I turned to Tony Khan, and I said, this place is a joke, man. You're a clown. I quit. I went to my room. Joe and Jerry Lynn got me, and let's go out there and kill it. I was just too fired up. I'm fired up now. I'm probably going to regret talking about this. Trevor. All right. So those are the main points. CM Punk basically saying that he was the one who went up to Jack Perry after the line was uttered at All In, and in his words, I didn't hurt him. I just choked him a little bit.
Choked him a little.
Okay. Thoughts
I
on
didn't punch anybody.
Thoughts on this?
I mean, one thing's for certain, right? In this interview, you got to hear his side, like I said, and from what you can attest and what we've heard, it's pretty much mostly true. It's pretty much accurate. Like most of what he said, we've heard before. With that same token, you can't say all of it's wasn't his fault either. Like, I mean, it was it seems like it was other people, started it, whatever, but like he also didn't back down from it either. So like there's some fault on both parties, I think, still. Um, and it seems like, and well, not in this particular interview, but it seemed like before he was trying to paint himself as the innocent one. But this one actually paints a different picture, which I think is a good thing. Um, but yeah, it's what no matter what you think, what you believe, it definitely was a crazy, wild string of events that happened while CM Punk was in AEW, and he probably should have never been in AEW.
Looking back, that probably was the case. I do think there is credence to this idea that I think because Punk even admits this. He's like, I was happy in AEW up until basically the Hangman thing. And this again, this is I'm a dumbass on the internet.
Right,
I'll preface what I'm about to say with that.
right, right.
But I do think that from everything that he said, he was happy with AEW up until the Hangman thing. And the way I perceive this and the way I look at this is Punk at that point, that Hangman thing, he just never got over it. And at that point, it was just like, I want out. And I think
Right.
like he's like the same thing happened with him in WWE. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
got to a point where he
absolutely.
was just like, no, I just want out. I'm done. And no matter what, no matter what happened after that point, he was done. Like it was he was going to. I think in many ways this was like Punk, maybe subconsciously like self-sabotaging his run in AEW, because he was just pissed and he didn't want to be there. He told Tony he didn't want to be there. Tony tried to like convince him like, oh, you're gonna be on this separate show. It's gonna be great. You're gonna be the leader of the brand. And he's like, no, just release me, because he did not want to come back for Collision. That much was clear.
He didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing, and now my thing is this: like, if that's the case, if like you said, he did do that in WWE. Now, is there some truth to be him being cancer in the locker room?
That's up to the talent to decide, right? I mean,
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and again, we're just some idiots on the internet talking.
I mean, I don't like using the term cancer. I think that with CM Punk, you know what CM Punk is. He's exactly what his promo was. He's a pipe bomb,
It's my mom. Yeah.
effective
Yeah.
as all hell at accomplishing its goal, but it will blow up. And this is not me trying to say it's not going to work in WWE. I think Punk just has a lot more respect for WWE than he ever did for AEW. That's just true, and he even says
Yeah.
as much,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think one of the things that this made, I think a lot of people like reconcile with, is the fact that not everything that happened was Punk's fault, and that is
No,
true.
it wasn't. It wasn't.
In my view, to this day, and I've said this before, I think Punk, as far as like individuals go, like who were involved in like the heat in between each other, I think Punk was like always the center of it, and like there's a lot of blame on his side. The person that I think shoulders most of the blame, though, is Tony Khan.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Because he had, in theory, all of the power to avoid this, to get these people together, tell the Young Bucks, hey, bro, I'm in charge. You're meeting. And make a decision. Handle it. The one, and that's something that I think everyone agrees with CM Punk about. Tony should have handled it. And the fact that he didn't, the fact that we're here, the biggest moment in recent memory is CM Punk's return in Chicago. I was there. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yep.
You could not hear the music. It was that freaking loud in that. I didn't even know. Trevor, the music played, and I didn't even know it, like who it was until I looked up and I saw the CM Punk logo.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I was confused. Yeah. I was like, what's going on? Where are we all freaking out? Is it happening? Is it happening? Oh, it's happening. And I freaked out. But
a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
So that same thing. But I mean, whatever it is, I hope it's figured out. And like you said, it probably, he has more respect for this company than he does the AEW. And that's just true.
Yep.
So he probably is not gonna do the things that old school CM Punk did to lose his job before. So let's just sit around for the ride and see what happens.
Like you got a Scottish psychopath who fancies himself a world champion, hasn't drawn a dime in this
I
business.
love when he ripped the other shirt off and had that the
He's so
shirt.
funny. He's pointing at like CM Punk's WrestleMania main event. That was so funny.
Yo, did you hear the did you hear the interview he did? Like, well, his little like vignette promo where he's like, what did he say? He said the biggest problem that that exists is Punk didn't win the Royal Rumble.